Prize Ship ***** Prize Ship by Philip K. Dick. Transcriber's note: this text was produced from Thrilling Wonder Stories Winter 1954. Extensive research did not uncover any evidence that the U.S. copyright on this publication was renewed. General Thomas Groves gazed glumly up at the battle maps on the wall. The thin black line, the iron ring around Ganymede, was still there. He waited a moment, vaguely hoping, but the line did not go away. At last he turned and made his way out of the chart wing, past the rows of desks. At the door Major Siller stopped him. "What's wrong, sir?" "No change in the war." "No change. What'll we do?" "Come to terms." "They're terms. We can't let it drag on another month. Everybody knows that." "They know that. Licked by a little outfit like Ganymede. If only we had more time. But we don't. The ships must be out in deep space again, right away. If we have to capitulate to get them out, then let's do it. Ganymede." He spat. "If we could only break them. But by that time the colonies won't exist. We have to get our cradles back in our own hands," Groves said grimly. "Even if it takes capitulation to do it. No other way will do. You find another way." Groves pushed past Siller, out into the corridor. "And if you find it, let me know." The war had been going on for 2 Terran months, with no sign of a break. The System Senate's difficult position came from the fact that Ganymede was the jump-off point between the system and its precarious network of colonies at Proxima Centauri. All ships leaving the system for deep space were launched from the immense space cradles on Ganymede. There were no other cradles. Ganymede had been agreed on as the jump-off point, and the cradles had been constructed there. The Ganymedians became rich, hauling freight and supplies in their tubby little ships. Over a period of time more and more Gany ships took to the sky, freighters and cruisers and patrol ships. One day this odd fleet landed among the space cradles, killed and imprisoned the Terran and Martian gods, and proclaimed that Ganymede and the cradles were their property. If the Senate wanted to use the cradles they paid, and paid plenty. 20% of all freighted goods turned over to the Gany Emperor, left on the Moon. And full Senate representation. If the Senate fleet tried to take back the cradles by force, the cradles would be destroyed. The Ganymedians had already mined them with H-bombs. The Gany fleet surrounded the Moon, a little ring of hard steel. If the Senate fleet tried to break through, seize the Moon, it would be the end of the cradles. What could the system do? And at Proxima, the colonies were starving. "You're certain we can't launch ships into deep space from regular fields?" a Martian senator asked. "Only Class 1 ships have any chance to reach the colonies," Commander James Carmichael said wearily. "A Class 1 ship is 10 times the size of a regular intra-system ship. A Class 1 ship needs a cradle miles deep. Miles wide. You can't launch a ship that size from a meadow. There was silence. The great Senate chambers were full, crowded to capacity with representatives from all the 9 planets. The Proxima colonies won't last another 20 days, Dr. Bassett testified. That means we must get a ship on the way sometime next week. Otherwise, when we do get there, we won't find anyone alive. When will the new lunar cradles be ready? A month, Carmichael answered. No sooner. No. Then apparently we'll have to accept Ganymede's terms. The Senate leader snorted with disgust. 9 planets and 1 wretched little moon. How dare they want equal voice with the system members? We could break their ring, Carmichael said, but they'll destroy the cradles without hesitation if we do. If only we could get supplies to the colonies without using space cradles, a Plutonian senator said. That would mean without using Class 1 ships. And nothing else will reach Proxima. Nothing that we know of. A Saturnian senator arose. Commander, what kind of ships does Ganymede use? They're different from your own. Yes. But no one knows anything about them. How are they launched? Carmichael shrugged. The usual way. From fields. Do you think? I don't think they're deep space ships. We're beginning to grasp at straws. There simply is no ship large enough to cross deep space that doesn't require a space cradle. That's the fact we must accept. The Senate leader stirred. A motion is already before the Senate that we accept the proposal of the Ganymedians and conclude the war. Shall we take the vote, or are there any more questions? No one blinked his light. Then we'll begin. Mercury. What is the vote of the first planet? Mercury votes to accept the enemy's terms. Venus. What does Venus vote? Venus votes, wait. Commander Carmichael stood up suddenly. The Senate leader raised his hand. What is it? The Senate is voting. Carmichael gazed down intently at a foil strip that had been shot to him across the chamber, from the chart wing. I don't know how important this is, but I think perhaps the Senate should know about it before it votes. What is it? I have a message from the first line. A Martian raider has surprised and captured a Gany research station, on an asteroid between Mars and Jupiter. A large quantity of Gany equipment has been taken intact. Carmichael looked around the hall. Including a Gany ship, a new ship, undergoing tests at the station. The Gany staff was destroyed, but the prize ship is undamaged. The raider is bringing it here so it can be examined by our experts. A murmur broke through the chamber. I put forth a motion that we withhold our decision until the Ganymedian ship has been examined, a Uranian senator shouted. Something might come of this. The Ganymedians have put a lot of energy into designing ships, Carmichael murmured to the Senate leader. Their ships are strange. Quite different from ours. Maybe. What is the vote on the motion? The Senate leader asked. Shall we wait until this ship can be examined? Let's wait, voices cried. Wait. Let's see. Carmichael rubbed his jaw thoughtfully. It's worth a try. But if nothing comes of this, we'll have to go ahead and capitulate. He folded up the foil strip. Anyhow, it's worth looking into. A Gunny ship. I wonder. Dr. Earl Bassett's face was red with excitement. Let me by. He pushed through the row of uniformed officers. Please let me by. Two shiny lieutenants stepped out of his way and he saw, for the first time, the great globe of steel and Rigzanoid that was the captured Ganymedian ship. Look at it, Major Silla whispered. Nothing at all like our own ships. What makes it run? No drive jets, Commander Carmichael said. Only landing jets to set her down. What makes her go? The Ganymedian globe rested quietly in the center of the Terran experimental laboratory, rising up from the circle of men like a great bubble. It was a beautiful ship, glimmering with an even metallic fire, shimmering and radiating a cold light. It gives you a strange feeling, General Groves said. Suddenly he caught his breath. You don't suppose this could be a gravity drive ship? The Gannis were supposed to be experimenting with gravity. What's that? Bassett said. A gravity drive ship would reach its destination without time lapse. The velocity of gravity is infinite. Can't be measured. If this globe is nonsense, Carmichael said. Einstein showed gravity isn't a force but a warpage, a space warpage. But couldn't a ship be built using, gentlemen? The Senate leader came quickly into the laboratory, surrounded by his guards. Is this the ship? This globe? The officers pulled back and the Senate leader went gingerly up to the great gleaming side. He touched it. It's undamaged, Silla said. They're translating the control markings so we can use it. So this is the Ganymedian ship. Will it help us? We don't know yet, Carmichael said. Here come the think men, Groves said. The hatch of the globe had opened, and two men in white lab uniforms were stepping carefully down, carrying a Samantha box. What are the results? The Senate leader asked. We've made the translations. A Terran crew could operate the ship now. All the controls are marked. We should make a study of the engines before we try the ship out, Dr. Bassett said. What do we know about it? We don't know what makes it run, or what fuel it uses. How long will such a study take? The leader asked. Several days, at least, Carmichael said. That long? There's no telling what we'll run into. We may find a radically new type of drive and fuel. It might even take several weeks to finish the analysis. The Senate leader pondered. Sir, Carmichael said, I think we should go ahead and have a test run. We can easily raise a volunteer crew. A trial run could begin at once, Groves said. but we might have to wait weeks for the drive analysis. You believe a complete crew would volunteer? Carmichael rubbed his hands together. Don't worry about that. 4 men would do it. 3, outside of me. 2, General Groves said. Count me in. How about me, sir? Major Silla asked hopefully. Dr. Bassett pushed up nervously. Is it all right for a civilian to volunteer? I'm curious as hell about this. The Senate leader smiled. Why not? If you can be of use, go along. So the crew is already here. The 4 men grinned at each other. Well, Groves said. What are we waiting for? Let's get her started. The linguist traced a meter reading with his finger. You can see the Gani markings. Next to each we've put the Terran equivalent. There's one hitch, though. We know the Gani word for, say, 5. Zaf. So where we find Zaf we mark a 5 for you. See this dial. Where the arrows at Nisi. At 0. See how it's marked. 100 Li 50 Ka 5 Zaf 0 Nisi 5 Zaf 50 Ka 100 Li. Carmichael nodded. So. This is the problem. We don't know what the units refer to. 5, but 5 what? 50, but 50 what? Presumably velocity. Or is it distance? Since no study has been made of the workings of this ship, you can't interpret. How? The linguist tapped a switch. Obviously, this throws the drive on. Mel, start. You close the switch and it indicates IO, stop. But how you guide the ship is a different matter. We can't tell you what the meter is for. Groves touched a wheel. Doesn't this guide her? It governs the brake rockets, the landing jets. As for the central drive, we don't know what it is or how you control it, once you're started. Semantics won't help you. Only experience. We can translate numbers only into numbers. Groves and Carmichael looked at each other. Well, Groves said, we may find ourselves lost in space. Or falling into the sun. I saw a ship spiral into the sun, once. Faster and faster, down and down, we're a long way from the sun. And we'll point her out, toward Pluto. We'll get control eventually. You don't want to unvolunteer, do you? Of course not. How about the rest of you? Carmichael said, to Bassett and Silla. You're still coming along? Certainly. Bassett was stepping cautiously into his space suit. We're coming. Make sure you seal your helmet completely. Carmichael helped him fasten his leggings. Your shoes, next. Commander Groves said, they're finishing on the vidscreen. I wanted it installed so we could establish contact. We might need some help getting back. Good idea. Carmichael went over, examining the leads from the screen. Self-contained power unit. For safety's sake. Independent from the ship. Carmichael sat down before the vid screen, clicking it on. The local monitor appeared. Get me the garrison station on Mars. Commander Vakchi. The call locked through. Carmichael began to lace his boots and leggings while he waited. He was lowering his helmet into place when the screen glowed into life. Vakchi's dark features formed, lean-jawed above his scarlet uniform. "Greetings, Commander Carmichael," he murmured. He glanced curiously at Carmichael's suit. "You are going on a trip, Commander. We may visit you. We're about to take the captured Gani ship up. If everything goes right, I hope to set her down at your field, sometime later today. We'll have the field cleared and ready for you. Better have emergency equipment on hand. We're still unsure of the controls. I wish you luck." Vakchi's eyes flickered. "I can see the interior of your ship. What drive is it?" "We don't know yet. That's the problem. I hope you will be able to land, Commander." "Thanks. So do we." Carmichael broke the connection. Groves and Scylla were already dressed. They were helping Bassett tighten the screw locks of his earphones. "We're ready," Groves said. He looked through the port. Outside, a circle of officers watched silently. "Say goodbye," Scylla said to Bassett. "This may be our last minute on Terra." "Is there really much danger?" Groves sat down beside Carmichael at the control board. "Ready." His voice came to Carmichael through his phones. "Ready." Carmichael reached out his gloved hand toward the switch marked MEL. "Here we go. Hold on tight." He grasped the switch firmly and pulled. They were falling through space. "Help!" Dr. Bassett shouted. He slid across the upended floor, crashing against a table. Carmichael and Groves hung on grimly, trying to keep their places at the board. The globe was spinning and dropping, settling lower and lower through a heavy sheet of rain. Below them, visible through the port, was a vast rolling ocean, an endless expanse of blue water, as far as the eye could see. Scylla stared down at it, on his hands and knees, sliding with the globe. "Commander, where should we be?" "Someplace off Mars." "But this can't be Mars." Groves flipped the brake rocket switches, one after another. The globe shuddered as the rockets came on, bursting into life around them. "Easy does it," Carmichael said, craning his neck to see through the port. "Ocean." "What the hell?" The globe leveled off, shooting rapidly above the water, parallel to the surface. Scylla got slowly to his feet, hanging onto the railing. He helped Bassett up. "Okay, Doc." "Thanks." Bassett wobbled. His glasses had come off inside his helmet. "Where are we?" "On Mars already." "We're there," Groves said, "but it isn't Mars." But I thought we were going to Mars. So did the rest of us. Groves decreased the speed of the globe cautiously. You can see this isn't Mars. Then what is it? I don't know. We'll find out, though. Commander, watch the starboard jet. It's overbalancing. Your switch. Carmichael adjusted. Where do you think we are? I don't understand it. Are we still on Terra? Or Venus? Groves flicked the vid screen on. I'll soon find out if we're on Terra. He raised the all-wave control. The screen remained blank. Nothing formed. We're not on Terra. We're not anywhere in the system. Groves spun the dial. No response. Try the frequency of the big Mars sender. Groves adjusted the dial. At the spot where the Mars sender should have come in there was nothing. The four men gaped foolishly at the screen. All their lives they had received the familiar sanguine faces of Martian announcers on that wave. 24 hours a day. The most powerful sender in the system. Mars sender reached all the 9 planets, and even out into deep space. And it was always on the air. Lord Bassett said. We're out of the system. We're not in the system, Groves said. Notice the horizontal curve. This is a small planet we're on. Maybe a moon. But it's no planet or moon I've ever seen before. Not in the system, and not the Proxima area, either. Carmichael stood up. The units must be big multiples, all right. We're out of the system, perhaps all the way around the galaxy. He peered out the port at the rolling water. I don't see any stars, Bassett said. Later on we can get a star reading. When we're on the other side, away from the sun. Ocean, Scylla murmured. Miles of it. And a good temperature. He removed his helmet cautiously. Maybe we won't need these after all. Better leave them on until we can make an atmosphere check, Groves said. Isn't there a check tube on this bubble? I don't see any, Carmichael said. Well, it doesn't matter. If we, sir. Scylla exclaimed. Land. They ran to the port. Land was rising into view, on the horizon of the planet. A long low strip of land, a coastline. They could see green, the land was fertile. I'll turn her a little right, Groves said, sitting down at the board. He adjusted the controls. How's that? Heading right toward it. Carmichael sat down beside him. Well, at least we won't drown. I wonder where we are. How will we know? What if the star map can't be equated? We can take a spectroscopic analysis, try to find a known star. We're almost there, Bassett said nervously. You better slow us down, General. We'll crash. I'm doing the best I can. Any mountains or peaks? No. It seems quite flat. Like a plane. The globe dropped lower and lower, slowing down. Green scenery whipped past below them. Far off a row of meager hills came finally into view. The globe was barely skimming, now, as the two pilots fought to bring it to a stop. "Easy, easy," Groves murmured. "Too fast." All the brakes were firing. The globe was a bedlam of noise, knocked back and forth as the jets fired. Gradually it lost velocity, until it was almost hanging in the sky. Then it sank, like a toy balloon, settling slowly down to the green plain below. "Cut the rockets." The pilots snapped their switches. Abruptly all sound ceased. They looked at each other. "Any moment," Carmichael murmured. "Plop." "We're down," Bassett said. "We're down." They unscrewed the hatch cautiously, their helmets tightly in place. Scylla held a Boris gun ready, as Groves and Carmichael swung the heavy Rixonoid disc back. A blast of warm air rolled into the globe, swelling around them. "See anything?" Bassett said. "Nothing. Level fields. Some kind of planet." The general stepped down onto the ground. "Tiny plants. Thousands of them. I don't know what kind." The other men stepped out, their boots sinking into the moist soil. They looked around them. "Which way?" Scylla said. "Toward those hills." "Might as well. What a flat planet." Carmichael strode off, leaving deep tracks behind him. The others followed. "Harmless-looking place," Bassett said. He picked a handful of the little plants. "What are they?" "Some kind of weed." He stuffed them into the pocket of his space suit. "Stop." Scylla froze, rigid, his gun raised. "What is it?" Something moved. "Through that patch of shrubbery over there." They waited. Everything was quiet around them. A faint breeze eddied through the surface of green. The sky overhead was a clear, warm blue, with a few faint clouds. "What did it look like?" Bassett said. "Some insect." "Wait." Scylla crossed to the patch of plants. He kicked at them. All at once a tiny creature rushed out, scuttling away. Scylla fired. The bolt from the Boris gun ignited the ground, a roar of white fire. When the cloud dissipated there was nothing but a seared pit. "Sorry." Scylla lowered the gun shakily. "It's all right. Better to shoot first, on a strange planet." Groves and Carmichael went on ahead, up a low rise. "Wait for me," Bassett called. He fell behind the others. "I have something in my boot. You can catch up." The three went on, leaving the doctor alone. He sat down on the moist ground, grunting. He began to unlace his boot slowly, carefully. Around him the air was warm. He sighed, relaxing. After a moment he removed his helmet and adjusted his glasses. Smells of plants and flowers were heavy in the air. He took a deep breath, letting it out again slowly. Then he put his helmet back on and finished lacing up his boot. A tiny man, not 6 inches high, appeared from a clump of weeds and shot an arrow at him. A tiny man appeared and shot an arrow. Bassett stared down. The arrow, a minute splinter of wood, was sticking in the sleeve of his space suit. He opened and closed his mouth but no sounds came. A second arrow glanced off the transparent shield of his helmet. Then a third and a fourth. The tiny man had been joined by companions, one of them on a tiny horse. "Mother of Heaven," Bassett said. "What's the matter?" General Grove's voice came in his earphones. "Are you all right, Doctor?" "Sir, a tiny man just fired an arrow at me." "Really?" There's a whole bunch of them, now." "Are you out of your mind?" "No." Bassett scrambled to his feet. A volley of arrows rose up, sticking into his suit, glancing off his helmet. The shrill voices of the tiny men came to his ears, an excited, penetrating sound. "General, please come back here." Groves and Scylla appeared at the top of the ridge. "Bassett, you must be out of..." They stopped, transfixed. Scylla raised the Boris gun, but Groves pushed the muzzle down. "Impossible." He advanced, staring down at the ground. An arrow pinged against his helmet. "Little men." "With bows and arrows." Suddenly the little men turned and fled. They raced off, some on foot, some on horseback, back through the weeds and out the other side. "There they go," Scylla said. "Should we follow them? See where they live?" "It isn't possible." Groves shook his head. "No planet has yielded tiny human beings like this. So small." Commander Carmichael strode down the ridge to them. "Did I really see it?" "You men saw it, too." Tiny figures, racing away. Groves pulled an arrow from his suit. "We saw. And felt." He held the arrow close to the plate of his helmet, examining it. "Look, the tip glitters. Metal-tipped." "Did you notice their costumes?" Bassett said. "In a storybook I once read. Robin Hood. Little caps, boots. A story." Groves rubbed his jaw, a strange look suddenly glinting in his eyes. "A book." "What, sir?" Scylla said. "Nothing." Groves came suddenly to life, moving away. "Let's follow them. I want to see their city." He increased his pace, walking with great strides after the tiny men, who had not got very far off, yet. "Come on," Scylla said. "Before they get away." He and Carmichael and Bassett followed behind Groves, catching up with him. The four of them kept pace with the tiny men, who were hurrying away as fast as they could. After a time one of the tiny men stopped, throwing himself down on the ground. The others hesitated, looking back. "He's tired out," Scylla said. "He can't make it." Shrill squeaks rose. He was being urged on. "Give him a hand," Bassett said. He bent down, picking the tiny figure up. He held him carefully between his gloved fingers, turning him around and around. "Ouch!" He set him down quickly. "What is it?" Groves came over. "He stung me." Bassett massaged his thumb. "Stung you?" "Stabbed, I mean." "With his sword?" "You'll be all right." Groves went on, after the tiny figures. Sir Scylla said to Carmichael, "This certainly makes the Ganymede problem seem remote. It's a long way off. I wonder what their city will be like," Groves said. "I think I know," Bassett said. "You know? How?" Bassett did not answer. He seemed to be deep in thought, watching the figures on the ground intently. "Come on," he said. "Let's not lose them." They stood together, none of them speaking. Ahead, down a long slope, lay a miniature city. The tiny figures had fled into it, across a drawbridge. Now the bridge was rising, lifted by almost invisible threads. Even as they watched, the bridge snapped shut. "Well, Doc," Scylla said. "This what you expected?" Bassett nodded. "Exactly." The city was walled, built of grey stone. It was surrounded by a little moat. Countless spires rose up, a conglomeration of peaks and gables, tops of buildings. There was furious activity going on inside the city. A cacophony of shrill sounds from countless throats drifted across the moat to the four men, growing louder each moment. At the walls of the city figures appeared, soldiers in armor, peering across the moat at them. Suddenly the drawbridge quivered. It began to slide down, descending into position. There was a pause. Then, "Look!" Groves exclaimed. "Here they come!" Scylla raised his gun. "My lord! Look at them!" A horde of armored men on horseback clattered across the drawbridge, spilling out onto the ground beyond. They came straight toward the four space-suited men, the sun sparkling against their shields and spears. There were hundreds of them, decked with streamers and banners and pennants of all colors and sizes. An impressive sight, on a small scale. "Get ready," Carmichael said. "They mean business. Watch your legs." He tightened the bolts of his helmet. The first wave of horsemen reached Groves, who was standing a little ahead of the others. A ring of warriors surrounded him, little glittering armored and plumed figures, hacking furiously at his ankles with miniature swords. "Cut it out!" Groves howled, leaping back. "Stop! They're going to give us trouble," Carmichael said. Scylla began to giggle nervously, as arrows flew around him. "Shall I give it to them, sir?" One blast from the Boris gun and, "No. Don't fire, that's an order." Groves moved back as a phalanx of horses rushed toward him, spears lowered. He swung his leg, spilling them over with his heavy boot. A frantic mass of men and horses struggled to right themselves. Back, Bassett said. Those damn archers. Countless men on foot were rushing from the city with long bows and quivers strapped to their backs. A chaos of shrill sound filled the air. "He's right," Carmichael said. His leggings had been hacked clean through by determined knights who had dismounted and were swinging again and again, trying to chop him down. "If we're not going to fire, we better retreat. They're tough." Clouds of arrows rained down on them. "They know how to shoot," Groves admitted. "These men are trained soldiers." "Watch out," Scylla said. "They're trying to get between us. Pick us off one by one." He moved toward Carmichael nervously. "Let's get out of here." "Hear them?" Carmichael said. "They're mad. They don't like us." The four men retreated, backing away. Gradually the tiny figures stopped following, pausing to reorganize their lines. "It's lucky for us we have our suits on," Groves said. "This isn't funny anymore." Scylla bent down and pulled up a clump of weeds. He tossed the clump at the line of knights. They scattered. "Let's go," Bassett said. "Let's leave." "Leave? Let's get out of here." Bassett was pale. "I can't believe it. Must be some kind of hypnosis. Some kind of control of our minds. It can't be real." Scylla caught his arm. "Are you all right? What's the matter?" Bassett's face was contorted strangely. "I can't accept it," he muttered thickly. "Shakes the whole fabric of the universe. All basic beliefs." "Why? What do you mean?" Groves put his hand on Bassett's shoulder. "Take it easy, Doctor." "But General, I know what you're thinking." "But it can't be. There must be some rational explanation." "There has to be." "A fairy tale," Bassett muttered. "A story. Coincidence." The story was a social satire, nothing more. A social satire, a work of fiction. "It just seems like this place." "The resemblance is only, what are you two talking about?" Carmichael said. "This place." Bassett pulled away. "We've got to get out of here. We're caught in a mind web of some sort." "What's he talking about?" Carmichael looked from Bassett to Groves. "Do you know where we are?" "We can't be there," Bassett said. "Where?" "He made it up. A fairy tale. A child's tale." "No, a social satire, to be exact," Groves said. "What are they talking about, sir?" Scylla said to Commander Carmichael. "Do you know?" Carmichael grunted. A slow light dawned in his face. "What?" "Do you know where we are, sir?" "Let's get back to the globe," Carmichael said. Groves paced nervously. He stopped by the port, looking out intently, peering into the distance. "More coming," Bassett said. Lots more. What are they doing out there now? Still working on their tower. The little people were erecting a tower, a scaffolding up the side of the globe. Hundreds of them were working together, knights, workmen, archers, even women and boys. Horses and oxen pulling tiny carts were drawing supplies from the city. A shrill hubbub penetrated the rixonoid hull of the globe, filtering to the 4 men inside. Well, Carmichael said. What'll we do? Go back. I've had enough, Groves said. All I want now is to go back to Terra. Where are we? Scylla demanded, for the 10th time. Doc, you know. Tell me, damn it. All 3 of you know. Why won't you say? Because we want to keep our sanity, Bassett said, his teeth clenched. That's why. I'd sure like to know, Scylla murmured. If we went over in the corner, would you tell me? Bassett shook his head. Don't bother me, Major. It just can't be, Groves said. How could it be? And if we leave, we'll never know. We'll never be sure. It'll haunt us all our lives. Were we really here? Does this place really exist? And is this place really? There was a second place, Carmichael said abruptly. A second place. In the story. A place where the people were big. Bassett nodded. Yes. It was called, what? Brobdingnag. Brobdingnag. Maybe it exists, too. Then you really think this is, doesn't it fit his description? Bassett waved toward the port. Isn't that what he described? Everything small, tiny soldiers, little walled cities, oxen, horses, knights, kings, pennants, drawbridge, moat, and their damn towers. Always building towers, and shooting arrows. Doc, Scylla said. Whose description? No answer. Could you whisper it to me? I don't see how it can be, Carmichael said flatly. I remember the book, of course. I read it when I was a child, as we all did. Later on I realized it was a satire of the manners of the times. But good Lord, it's either one or the other. Not a real place. Maybe he had a 6th sense. Maybe he really was there. Here. In a vision. Maybe he had a vision. They say that he was supposed to have been psychotic, toward the end. Brobdingnag. The other place. Carmichael pondered. If this exists, maybe that exists. It might tell us. We might know, for sure. Some sort of verification. Yes, our theory. Hypothesis. We predict that it should exist, too. Its existence would be a kind of proof. The L theory, which predicts the existence of B. We've got to be sure, Bassett said. If we go back without being sure, we'll always wonder. When we're fighting the Ganymedians, we'll stop suddenly and wonder, was I really there? Does it really exist? All these years we thought it was just a story. But now, Groves walked over to the control board and sat down. He studied the dials intently. Carmichael sat down beside him. "See this," Groves said, touching the big central meter with his finger. "The reading is up to lie 100. Remember where it was when we started?" "Of course." "At Nisi." "At 0. Why?" "Nisi is neutral position. Our starting position, back on Terra. We've gone the limit one way." "Carmichael, Bassett is right. We've got to find out. We can't go back to Terra without knowing if this really is. You know. You want to throw it back all the way. Not stop at 0. Go on to the other end. To the other lie." Groves nodded. "All right." The commander let his breath out slowly. "I agree with you. I want to know, too. I have to know. Dr. Bassett." Groves brought the doctor over to the board. "We're not going back to Terra, not yet. The two of us want to go on." "On?" Bassett's face twitched. "You mean on beyond? To the other side?" They nodded. There was silence. Outside the globe the pounding and ringing had ceased. The tower had almost reached the level of the port. "We must know," Groves said. "I'm for it," Bassett said. "Good," Carmichael said. "I wish one of you would tell me what it is you're talking about," Scylla said plaintively. "Can't you tell me? Then here goes." Groves took hold of the switch. He held it for a moment, sitting silently. "Are we ready?" "Ready," Bassett said. Groves threw the switch, all the way down. Shapes, enormous and confused. The globe floundered, trying to right itself. Again they were falling, sliding about. The globe was lost in a sea of vague, misty forms, immense dim figures that moved on all sides of them, beyond the port. Bassett stared out, his jaws slack. What? Faster and faster the globe fell. Everything was diffused, unformed. Shapes like shadows drifted and flowed outside, shapes so huge that their outlines were lost. "Sir," Scylla muttered. "Commander. Hurry. Look." Carmichael made his way to the port. They were in a world of giants. A towering figure walked past them, a torso so large that they could see only a portion of it. There were other shapes, but so vast and dim they could not be identified. All around the globe was a roaring, a deep undercurrent of sound like the waves of a monstrous ocean. An echoing sound, a booming that tossed and bounced the globe around and around. Groves looked up at Bassett and Carmichael. "Then it's true," Bassett said. "This confirms it." "I can't believe it," Carmichael said. "But this is the proof we asked for. Here it is, out there." Outside the globe something was coming closer, coming ponderously toward them. Scylla gave a sudden shout, moving back from the port. He grabbed up the Boris gun, his face ashen. Groves, Bassett cried. Throw it to neutral. Quick. We've got to get away. Carmichael pushed Silas' gun down. He grinned fixedly at him. Sorry. This time it's too small. A hand was reached toward them, a hand so large that it blotted out the light. Fingers, skin with gaping pores, nails, great tufts of hair. The globe shuddered as the hand closed around them from all sides. General. Quick. Then it was gone. The pressure ceased, winking out. Beyond the port was nothing. The dials were in motion again, the pointer rising up toward Nisi. Toward neutral. Toward terror. Bassett breathed a sigh of relief. He removed his helmet and mopped his forehead. We got away, Groves said. Just in time. A hand, Silas said. Reaching for us. A big hand. Where were we? Tell me. Carmichael sat down beside Groves. They looked silently at each other. Carmichael grunted. We mustn't tell anyone. No one. They wouldn't believe us, and anyhow, it would be very damaging if they did. A society can't learn something like this. Too much would totter. He must have seen it in a vision. Then he wrote it up as a children's story. He knew he could never put it down as fact. Something like that. So it really exists. Both exist. And perhaps others. Wonderland, Ounce, Pellucidar, Iruhan, all the fantasies, dreams. Groves put his hand on the commander's arm. Take it easy. We'll simply tell them the ship didn't work. As far as they're concerned, we didn't go anywhere. Right. Right. Already, the vid screen was sputtering, coming to life. An image was forming. Right. We won't say anything. Just the four of us will know. He glanced at Scylla. Just the three of us, I mean. On the vid screen the image of the Senate leader was fully formed. Commander Carmichael. Are you safe? Were you able to land? Mars sent us no report. Is your crew all right? Bassett peered out the port. We're hanging about a mile up from the city. Terror City. Dropping slowly down. The sky is full of ships. We don't need help, do we? No, Carmichael said. He began to fire the brake rockets slowly, easing the ship down. Someday, when the war is over, Bassett said, I want to ask the Ganymedians about this. I'd like to find out the whole story. Maybe you'll get your chance, Groves said, suddenly sobered. That's right. Ganymede. Our chance to win the war certainly fizzled. The Senate leader is going to be disappointed, Carmichael said grimly. You may get your wish very soon, Doctor. The war will probably be over shortly, now that we're back, empty-handed. The slender yellow Ganymedian moved slowly into the room, his robe slithering across the floor after him. He stopped, bowing. Commander Carmichael nodded stiffly. I was told to come here, the Ganymedian lisped softly. They tell me that some of our property is in this laboratory. That's right. If there are no objections, we would like to go ahead and take it. Good. I am glad to see there is no animosity on your part. Now that we are all friends again, I hope that we can work together in harmony, on an equal basis of. Carmichael turned abruptly away, walking toward the door. Your property is this way. Come along. The Ganymedian followed him into the central lab building. There, resting silently in the center of the vast room, was the globe. Groves came over. I see they've come for it. Here it is, Carmichael said to the Ganymedian. Your spaceship. Take it. Our time ship, you mean? Groves and Carmichael jerked. Your what? The Ganymedian smiled quietly. Our time ship. He indicated the globe. There it is. May I begin moving it onto our transport? Get Bassett, Carmichael said. Quick. Groves hurried from the room. A moment later he returned with Dr. Bassett. Doctor, this Ganny is after his property. Carmichael took a deep breath. His time machine. Bassett leaped. His what? His time machine. His face twitched. Suddenly he backed away. This. A time machine. Not what we, not. Groves calmed himself with an effort. He addressed the Ganymedian as casually as he could, standing to one side, a little dismayed. May we ask you a couple of questions before you take your time ship? Of course. I will answer as best I can. This globe. It goes through time. Not space. It's a time machine. Goes into the past. Into the future. That is correct. I see. And Nisi on the dial, that's the present. Yes. The upward reading is the past. Yes. The downward reading is the future, then. One more thing. Just one more. A person going back into the past would find that because of the expansion of the universe, the Ganymedian reacted. A smile crossed his face, a subtle, knowing smile. Then you have tried out the ship. Groves nodded. You went into the past and found everything much smaller. Reduced in size. That's right, because the universe is expanding. And the future. Everything increased in size. Expanded. Yes. The Ganymedian's smile broadened. It is a shock, is it not? You are astonished to find your world reduced in size, populated by minute beings. But size, of course, is relative. As you discover when you go into the future. So that's it. Groves let out his breath. Well, that's all. You can have your ship. Time travel, the Ganymedians said regretfully, is not a successful undertaking. The past is too small, the future too expanded. We considered this ship a failure. The Gani touched the globe with his feeler. We could not imagine why you wanted it. It was even suggested that you stole the ship to use, the Gani smiled, to use to reach your colonies in deep space. But that would have been too amusing. We could not really believe that. No one said anything. The Gani made a whistling signal. A work crew came filing in and began to load the globe onto an enormous flat truck. So that's it, Groves muttered. It was terror all the time. And those people, they were our ancestors. About 15th century, Bassett said. Or so I'd say by their costumes. Middle Ages. They looked at each other. Suddenly Carmichael laughed. And we thought we were at, I knew it was only a child's story, Bassett said. A social satire, Groves corrected him. Silently they watched the Ganymedians trundle their globe out of the building, onto the waiting cargo ship. ****** End of the Project Gutenberg ebook prize ship ****** Updated editions will replace the previous one, the old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose, such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start. Full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works, by using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg. You agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Symbol Electronic Works 1.0 By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLAF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg. 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work, Any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2 If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3 If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4 Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark symbol. 1.e.5 Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license. 1.e.6 You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark symbol website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7 Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works provided that you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2. Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3. Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4. Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5. Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark symbol's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark symbol and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, UT 84116, 801-596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways, including checks, online payments and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg Trademark Symbol Electronic Works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark symbol ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the US unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark symbol, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks.